the Wings, there's no point for the Wings to have kept DeJounte Carrington. Or you're saying super confused. DeJounte did not want to be there. DeJounte didn't want to be there. That's obvious.
I tried to told you. I tried to tell you, DeJounte, your game was stinking in the mud, and the Dallas Wings wanted nothing to do with you going.
DJ Carrington just got the boot from the Dallas Wings. And who comes swooping in? None other than Cheryl Reeve, the same Cheryl Reeve who's still salty after Caitlin Clark dropped her from the All-Star roster like curbside garbage pickup. Instead of moving on, Reeve decided to make the pettiest move in WNBA history. She signed Dallas Castoff straight to the Minnesota Lynx. This isn't just a transaction. This is chess. Reeve didn't just grab a player, she grabbed a headline, a storyline, and a way to poke the bear. Petty? Absolutely. Calculated? Without question. And if you thought the Clark vs. Reeve saga was cooling down, buckle up. The fire's about to get hotter than a July playoff run.
Not having it. Now, we do know they head coach has some choicy words to say in their last press conference about the team. He pretty much said that the Indiana Fever bullied them all the way up and down the court. Now, I'm not saying there was drama down there, but it's definitely looking like it because they got DJ Carrington and Nalissa Smith. And I'm telling you right now, I'm about 80% sure there was probably some type of locker room drama between the two.
Let's rewind for a hot second. Cheryl Reeve, bless her bitter heart, was supposed to coach Caitlin Clark's All-Star team. You know, the woman who's been side-eyeing Clark since the moment she stepped foot in the league. The same coach who snubbed her from the Olympic roster and then had the audacity to pretend it was just basketball decisions. Yeah, that's Cheryl Reeve. So when Clark flipped the script and basically told Reeve, thanks but no thanks, by firing her from coaching duties. Oh, you could feel the salt levels rise to dangerous levels. And instead of swallowing her pride and moving on, Reeve went full villain mode, scooping up DJ Carrington fresh off the Dallas Wings reject pile. This wasn't about improving the Lynx. This was about ego. This was about revenge. This was about Cheryl Reeve trying to send a message to Caitlin Clark, you don't cross me without consequences.
Janae, they not really rocking with you. They're trying to get rid of you. They're giving no reassurance that they want you around at all. You can't get in the game in the fourth quarters. You're buried in the bench. You've been awful this season. It looks like you've forgotten how to play basketball completely. And what do you know? Good morning. DeJounte Carrington has been traded.
But Clark, being the absolute legend she is, looked Reeve dead in the eye during the All-Star draft and basically said, nah, we're trading coaches. No hesitation. No sugarcoating. Just straight up disrespect served on national TV, and the best part? She didn't even flinch. Cold as ice. Stone. Cold. Savage. She swapped Reeve out for Sandy Brondello faster than you could say, revenge is a dish best served live on ESPN. You could almost hear the collective gasp in the room, like, did Caitlin Clark really just trade a coach like she was a benchwarmer? Oh yes, she did. And Cheryl Reeve's face? Priceless. That was the exact moment Clark planted her flag in the middle of the WNBA and said, I'm not here to play politics. I'm here to run this league.
Not necessarily just expected DeJounte to be traded to the Lynx. I don't think anyone expected the Lynx of all teams to be signing DeJounte Carrington. But I think everyone expected that DeJounte was going to be gone. I don't hate the trade. I don't hate it from the Lynx perspective long term. I think the Carly Samuelson thing didn't work out. I think they probably they wouldn't have made this trade if Carly Samuelson not been out for the year. And with Samuelson out for the year, I think it's a pretty straightforward trade.
And how does Reeve respond to this public humiliation? Does she take the L gracefully like a seasoned pro? Does she maybe reflect on why the brightest star in the league wanted nothing to do with her coaching? Please. This is Cheryl Reeve we're talking about. Grace isn't in her playbook, instead, she goes full petty mode. Full villain arc. She looks around the league, scans the waiver wire, and says, who's the one player Caitlin Clark can't stand? Who's the dirtiest, most unapologetic Clark hater in the game? Ding ding ding. Enter DJ Carrington, yes, the same Carrington who's made a second career out of cheap shots, dirty fouls, and acting like Clark stole her lunch money in middle school. That's who Reeve decided to scoop up. Not because Minnesota desperately needed her game, spoiler, they didn't, but because Cheryl wanted to send a message: if I can't beat Caitlin on the court, I'll sure as hell troll her off it.
DJ Carrington has been traded to the Minnesota Lynx. Boy, boy, boy. The Dallas Wings have traded guard DJ Carrington to the Minnesota Lynx in exchange for Diamond Miller, Carly Samuelson, and a 2027 second-round pick. Wow. Wow. I'm not going to lie to you, DJ. This is best case scenario. This was best case scenario for you.
If you're enjoying this, hit that subscribe button. Now let's break down DJ Carrington for a second, because this woman isn't just a player, she's a walking controversy with a basketball glued to her hand. Forget rebounds, forget assists, forget steals, Carrington leads the WNBA in flagrant fouls. That's her stat line. That's her calling card. 3 this season already, which is more than some players pick up over an entire career. She's not out here making highlight reels, she's out here making blooper reels and referee headaches.
So the Minnesota Lynx make one of the worst trades they've ever made in their franchise's history by bringing in the second most toxic player in the league, DJ Dirty Ratchet Carrington, to their team. Minnesota Lynx, what are y'all thinking, man? Y'all got the culture that y'all got on y'all team and in y'all city, and you bring this toxic, cancerous player to y'all team? Y'all was that desperate to make a trade, man, by bringing in the Party City wig, toxic, crybaby, immature, Ratchet Carrington to y'all team?
And let's be clear, these aren't just, oops, I was hustling too hard moments. Nah. We're talking hair-pulling, eye-poking, straight-up dirty plays that would make a WWE heel say, chill, sis, that's too much. Remember when she yanked Sarah Ashley Barker down by her hair like they were in a middle school fight on the playground? Or when she clocked Caitlin Clark in the face during the playoffs, left her with a black eye, and then tried to sell it like it was some kind of accident? Please. Half the basketball world saw it for what it was. Jason Whitlock said it best: that wasn't defense, that was assault. Not a hard foul. Not competitive energy. An assault, and the WNBA. Crickets. They let her skate like nothing happened, while Clark was out here playing with a shiner that made her look like she'd just gone 10 rounds with prime Mike Tyson.
Carrington to the Minnesota Lynx. I don't know, but I know the Dallas coach, he was like, the Dallas chicken wings coach, he was ready for her to leave. Clearly, she a drama. No class. Ghetto. Ratchet. Feel like she ain't got an answer to nobody, feel like she can do whatever she want to do, but understand, man.
But here's the kicker. When folks finally started calling Carrington out for her cheap shots, did she own it? Did she say, yeah, I play rough, so what? Nope. She jumped on social media, crying, y'all swear I'm such a dirty player. Girl. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and drags people to the floor by their hair like a duck, it's probably a dirty player, and now here's where it gets juicy. Cheryl Reeve doesn't coach some struggling, desperate team grasping for headlines. She runs the juggernaut. The Minnesota Lynx are 24-5, 6 games ahead of everybody, steamrolling the league like they're on autopilot. Best record, best chemistry, stacked roster. They don't need drama, they don't need chaos, and yet Reeve went out and added the WNBA's queen of controversy anyway.
Fans swear I'm such a dirty player. I'm so over this narrative, because if you really know ball, you know I just play hard as fuck and never give up on the play. And yup, we challenged the last couple of fragrance and got them rescinded because I'm always trying to make a play on the ball, none more, none less hard.
So what does Reeve do with this championship roster she's spent years perfecting? She goes out and signs a player whose biggest stat line is flagrant fouls per 36 minutes. It's like buying a Ferrari and then dumping sugar in the gas tank because you're mad at the salesman. Think about it. The Lynx are a well-oiled machine. Nafisa Collier is playing at an MVP level. They've got shooters stretching the floor, a defense that chokes the life out of opponents, and a system built to win titles. And then here comes DJ Carrington, whose idea of defense is seeing how close she can get to an assault charge without wearing an orange jumpsuit. This isn't roster strategy. This isn't X's and O's. This is spite, pure and simple, spite wrapped in a contract and announced like a basketball move.
But Lynx, did y'all even really need to make a trade? I mean, I felt like y'all had enough weapons already, but DJ Dirty Ratchet Carrington was y'all best option to make a trade and bring to y'all team, and then people like, well, Cheryl Reeve is gonna keep her in check. She don't play. You know how Ratchet Carrington feels about white people, man. She ain't gonna be caring what Cheryl Reeve got to say, man, because she's the goofy, immature clown that she is, man. But I'm just like, wow, Lynx, y'all decided to downgrade y'all team by bringing in this overrated, toxic Ratchet Carrington over to y'all. All she gonna do is commit dirty plays.
But here's what makes this whole saga absolutely delicious. Reeve might have just handed Caitlin Clark the ultimate revenge arc on a silver platter. Picture it, championship playoffs, Fever versus Lynx. The matchup everyone's been waiting for. Clark versus Collier. Cinderella story versus dynasty pedigree. And there's DJ Carrington, suiting up for Minnesota, ready to do what she does best, play dirty and pray the refs look the other way, but karma has a wicked sense of humor. What if Carrington's recklessness backfires? What if her obsession with being the enforcer leads to an ejection in crunch time, or a pile of dumb fouls that swing the game? Imagine Cheryl Reeve, sitting on the bench, watching her perfect season implode, not because of talent, not because of strategy, but because she let her pettiness sign the dirtiest player in the league, and then, oh, the poetry, Caitlin Clark, the same woman Reeve tried to keep down at every turn, standing center court with the championship trophy in her hands. That's not just revenge. That's destiny laughing in Cheryl Reeve's face.
And y'all know, DJ is not Team CC. She tried to put her eye. So, if the Fever play the Lynx, know what I'm saying? Far as like the championship, CC and Carrington will face off.
But here's the real problem, and why this whole situation is such a joke. The refs have basically waved the white flag on Carrington's antics. She's already racked up 3 flagrant fouls this season, and she even brags about getting some of them rescinded. Think about that. The dirtiest player in the WNBA is literally leading the league in dangerous plays, and the officials are just shrugging like, what can you do? And when the league won't discipline her, it gives coaches like Cheryl Reeve the green light. Why not sign the player who specializes in cheap shots? Why not add someone whose best skill is testing how much she can get away with before the whistle blows? It's not strategy, it's a race to the bottom. And Reeve just slammed her foot on the gas.
She was always in headlines, punching players in the eye. And then we have to remember, she nearly injured Paige. Like, everybody forgot about that. Y'all remember when she nearly injured Paige, nearly took her whole knee out? Like, we got to remember all of those things transpired during this basketball season, man. For her to tell you, they made it their business to get rid of her. And I shouldn't laugh, but it's kind of funny. You know, I ain't gonna lie, man.
Let's be real about what this means for the playoffs. The Lynx were already the odds-on favorite to win it all, best record, best coach, championship pedigree for days. On paper, they don't need DJ Carrington. If anything, she doesn't raise their ceiling, she just raises the risk of chaos. And that's where things get spicy, because over in Indiana, the Fever are quietly stacking wins, getting healthier, and looking more dangerous by the week. Caitlin Clark is playing like the generational superstar she was billed to be. Aaliyah Boston is anchoring the paint. The supporting cast is finally clicking. And that mix of talent plus hunger? That's the recipe for a playoff run nobody wants to see in their bracket. So if the Fever and the Lynx collide in the finals, and right now, the stars are aligning for exactly that, it won't just be must-watch basketball. It'll be a full-blown soap opera on hardwood, Clark versus Collier, Reeve versus the superstar who iced her on live TV, Carrington versus the league's golden face. The basketball will be elite, but the drama? Absolutely off the charts.
Like, there are two teams really that matter. Maybe 2.5 teams if you want to say. The Fever, which I don't know how the Fever are going to get on, and then especially when it comes to the Mercury, they just haven't looked good without Cal Copper. Or with Cal Copper, sorry. They have not looked good with her at all. They've absolutely not looked great.
Step back for a second and look at what's really happening here. Cheryl Reeve, one of the most decorated coaches in WNBA history, a woman with rings on her fingers and banners hanging in her rafters, just made a roster move not out of strategy, not out of necessity, but out of spite. She took a championship-caliber team, a machine built to dominate, and willingly threw a wrench into the gears. Why? Because her ego couldn't handle being embarrassed on live television by Caitlin Clark. This isn't about basketball anymore. This is what happens when pride outweighs preparation, when grudges matter more than chemistry, when a coach who should know better decides to gamble her dynasty on a player whose claim to fame is racking up controversies and flagrant fouls. Reeve already had everything she needed to win. And instead of tightening the screws, she chose chaos.
And only thing I can say about it, her or Cheryl Reeve do not care for Caitlin Clark. Like, we all know that. And it looked like a bunch of Minnesota fans is happy to acquire her for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? But the world has reacted to this, man. This is the Dallas Wings letting the world know Wings have traded guard DJ Carrington to the Minnesota Lynx in exchange for Diamond Miller. And yeah, man. And they cut the comments off. Bro. So you can't even comment on this.
Here's what's going to happen when DJ Carrington steps on the court in a Lynx jersey. She's not going to suddenly transform into a disciplined role player. She's going to do what she's always done, push boundaries, dare the refs to stop her, and see just how far she can take it. Sure, maybe it works in the short term. Maybe she rattles a rookie. Maybe she sneaks in a cheap shot and gets away with it. The Lynx might even convince themselves it's an edge. But when the lights are brightest and the stakes are highest, that edge turns into a liability. She's going to rack up a stupid foul at the worst possible time. She's going to get tossed in a playoff game the Lynx can't afford to lose. She's going to take a championship moment and turn it into a full-blown meltdown. And when that happens, Cheryl Reeve will have nobody to blame but herself, because she chose pettiness over professionalism, spite over strategy, and ego over winning.
Okay, the Wings are just taking a dive, right? Like that has to be the answer. They know they're just banking on next season. They're done. They're done for the season. It is what it is. Send out who they can, get some good picks. They are in full rebuilding. This rebuilding has to include getting rid of Kurt Miller and getting rid of Friendship Ken. It has to. What are we doing in Dallas?
And here's the delicious irony. By signing DJ Carrington, Cheryl Reeve might have just handed Caitlin Clark the ultimate revenge story. Clark, the one who got snubbed from the Olympics, who took shots from Carrington, who humiliated Reeve on national TV during the All-Star draft, now gets the chance to deliver the final blow on the biggest stage. This isn't just basketball anymore. This is personal. This is about pride, power, and who really runs this league. And when the confetti falls, we'll know the truth. Was Reeve's petty, vindictive gamble a stroke of genius, or the fatal mistake that cost her everything? So buckle up. Because if Caitlin Clark and the Fever cut down the nets while DJ Carrington sits glued to the bench in foul trouble, that won't just be victory. That'll be poetry in motion.